But in this movie, the guy he looks at you and goes like, you know, falls in love immediately. Has it ever happened to you?
That's a good question. Does somebody fall in love with me immediately?
Good sensation. Great.
I don't know, but you know, I like that in the movie that, yeah, even though he's the president, he sort of...
This movie is about a president having a date.
Right.
And it's a big deal. Why do you think it's such a big deal for a president to have a date?
Well, because they hardly have a life at all. So if the president is single to begin with, and has the opportunity to go out on a date, you can imagine that everyone is going to be very attentive and really wanting to know what's going on. What's the, you know, we're a country of a lot of curious people about people's private lives.
You know, when this movie started and he was going to be dating her, I thought something was wrong. It didn't seem right.
Well, I think that if he were to declare his love for the girl, and if he were to announced that he was getting married, I don't think it would be a problem. I think people would be happy. But I think the fact that what's difficult is the early stages of a relationship. I mean, you know, you meet somebody, you can't say, I'm in love and we're getting married. You have to go through the normal process of courtship. And during that time, he's having an affair. You know, I mean, he's got a daughter, and she's in the White House, and he feels that the press should have no part of his personal life. And the fact of the matter is, nobody wants to have people pry into their personal affairs, especially when you're first meeting somebody of the opposite sex. You want the freedom to, find out about each other and not to have everybody all over you.
I think you'd be single, and I think you should date. I would. I think it's the most off-the-wall situation I've ever heard of. Jurassic Park could be more real than that. A president will never be single. No, a single president is not possible. It's a date because that means he's real. He's not a god.
They don't like human beings, right?
No, they don't want a god that shits.
The worst thing is a president, right?
Yes, in a way, it really poses a problem for the woman because she's vulnerable to him in a way, and she's got her job she's supposed to be doing, and so, I mean, I think it's universal. When you fall in love, everybody has a mixture of, oh, it's exhilaration, and then also, oh dear, you know, what could happen to me? Could I be hurt? So for her, that's magnified by the fact that he's the president.
As a date? No, you could go stag. I mean, come on. Think about when you were young and you didn't have a date for prom. It was okay. You could stroll in and up to bed. But the president could do it too. So I'm saying the president is a real person with nice legs.
Most of our presidents have been married. And that hasn't stopped them. Security, I would have think. You know, just the security.
Yeah, you know, but he wants to keep it private and keep it quiet, and of course they want to.
I don't think that's a good idea if we can avoid it, you know. But look, they're entitled to their private lives. I mean, it's not my business, and I don't care. As long as they're a good president, that's all that should matter.
Not at all. I think people are probably too programmed to worry about what everybody else is doing.
So you didn't experience this kind of feeling in your own life, did you? Ever?
I think that, you know, every time, for me, as for anybody, anytime you fall in love, you feel a mixture of exhilaration and also vulnerability, because you are genuinely vulnerable to another human being, and you know that if you're deeply invested in somebody, you could be hurt.
Would you vote in an actor for president?
It depends on who the actor is, but I tend to think that since we've already gone that route, we don't need another actor as a president.
Because I don't believe that's their job. Their job is an actor. They were all their life they were trained as an actor, and that's what they do, and not a politician. No, maybe jazz musician. Better. An actor is an actor, someone that can take people out. Why would you want them to run your country?
Oh, okay.
Good at acting. I think all the politicians are actors.
Well, I didn't find out anything that was new. What I found out was what I had suspected was even more so than I thought, which is the rigors of that job.
They work a lot.
It's beyond comprehension how much time and effort and the pressure that's on the president. It's extraordinary. You know, you can't imagine that any one person could do that job.
Would you vote in Michael Douglas as a president?
Never. I don't even like him as an actor.
I don't know too much about his political thoughts. He's a good actor, but that doesn't make him automatically a good politician.
Other than act, what's he qualified? What qualifies him to be president?
You said you were a very emotional person. Do you allow yourself to be vulnerable without fear to be hurt?
Yes, I think I have done that instinctively and kind of thrown myself sometimes into situations. But yeah, I think that you have to be, that it's good to have a certain amount of openness and to not try to control everything in your life, but sort of be open to destiny and what comes up, because of course we all have that. I think that's how life is designed in a way, that you have a certain expectation of what your life is going to be like. But it never is. It's always different when it comes to you actually. So I guess balancing out or accepting what it actually is versus whatever image you might have had of how life was going to be is the question to answer in terms of how happy you can be, or how happy's not a good word, how challenged.
What does the president have to be qualified? A brain. He has to have a good grasp of public affairs.
Selflessness, has to not be going for his own thing. Really needs to be willing to change things and know how to and have support. And it's not just about the president, because the president can't do everything by himself. Rich? Can't get elected without power. Money's power.
Rob, what power means to you? What does it mean? Yeah.
What does it mean to me? Power to me is the ability to facilitate things. If you're in a position of power, you can get things done more easily, and I think that's the value of power.
You as a director, do you feel this power yourself?
I have come to feel the power because I have had some success, and with success usually comes power. And also I have my own film company that that I'm part of and that I help run, so that gives you power as well.
You started as an actor. What made you become a director?
I always was a director, even before I became an actor. At the age of 19, I was directing my own improvisational theater group, and I directed plays in Los Angeles and had acting classes that I ran. And so my mind always went to the overall. Even when I was doing All in the Family, I was always thinking, and even while I was acting in a scene, I was always thinking where the camera was and what the audience was doing and what the other actors in the scene were doing, which is not the best way to act, but my mind couldn't help it. I always went to the overall.
And being an actor, do you think it helps you to deal with actors, to know what they want, they are afraid to? Or...
Without question. I mean, it's a tremendous leg up for a director to know what an actor is going through. I mean, you can help them through, if they're having a difficult problem.
How do you work? Do you see a person and you immediately know what is, the kind of personality she has, and you go in a personal hits or everybody? How do you deal with this directing?
Every actor is different, Some actors need a lot of attention, other actors need to be left alone. And you have to kind of feel your way along. I mean, I have a 2-week rehearsal period before each film, and during that time I can get a sense of, how to handle each actor, and whether or not I give them more attention, or some actors need to be kicked a little bit, other actors need to be left alone, and you figure it out.
What are the best and the worst things about an actor?
The best thing about an actor is when they're doing their work and they are completely open and unfettered. There's a joy there. There's a childlike quality that's very, very attractive. I mean, you kind of, you say, wow, you know, somebody can pretend and be these things, and wow, isn't that exciting and attractive?
How many times do we have to do this damn scene? No! I'll be in my trailer, taking a nap. Excuse me, Toots.
The worst thing about that's childlike behavior, which is very attractive. Then the downside is childish behavior, which is unattractive, which is this kind of, and most actors have either some or a lot of it. Some actors have very little of it, and they're what we call very low maintenance, but it's a fear. It's all based on fear of not doing the job well, or not being liked, or, you know, insecurity of some sort, and then it manifests itself in all kinds of weird behavior of not wanting to come out of the trailer, or not wanting to, or not learning their lines, or not showing up on time, or asking for, making demands above and beyond what they should be asking. Those parts are unattractive.
In your movies, you always talk about values and issues. Do you think a movie can change the point of view of the audience?
Well, I don't know if it can change the point of view of the audience, but it certainly can get an audience to think about things. It can do a number of things. It can highlight an experience that you have had in your own life that you may have been confused about, and it brings into focus because you're seeing somebody on the screen having a similar type of experience. So it can bring something in your own life into focus. But it can also start you thinking about something that you might not have thought about.
Reflection.
Yeah, yeah.
When you see your own movies, do you criticize, or you can just watch, relax as a normal audience?
No, I guess always criticize.
You stay
Yeah, I mean, on my movie, it's funny because I can't really watch my movie. You know, I know everything that went into making it and all the little imperfections and things, so I can't really sit back and just enjoy it. But what I have a different experience watching a movie that a moviegoer can never have.
What someone has to be a good director?
Well, I think you have to have a talent for the overview. I mean, you have to really have the ability to step back and see an overall picture. You also have to have in my case, you have to have abilities in a lot of different areas, because there's music, there's acting, there's writing, there's visuals and camera work, there's colors and in selecting things in a set, and and the look of it, and architecture and things. So you have to have a feel for a lot of different things, and but basically you also have to be very patient. You have to be a very patient person to allow and create an atmosphere. You have to have the ability to create an atmosphere that lets people do their work and be patient.
Scorsese said the same thing. Very patient.
Yeah, you have to be patient.
For instance, it's a great movie, but do you have any pressure from the box office and to make it, this is a normal
artistic endeavor? You're working with materials that are very costly. It's not like an artist who can have, some paints and a canvas and brushes. I mean, you're working with very expensive materials.
Yeah.
So.
And what makes a great movie?
To me, what makes a great movie is a compelling story that is acted well and that has something to say about human nature, that makes, that tells us sheds a light on some aspect of human behavior and lets us see us in certain ways, but told in the guise of a great story with really well-defined characters that are acted well.
Your next project?
My next project is about a young district attorney named Bobby DeLauder from Mississippi, who was successful in bringing to justice the man who killed Medgar Evers over 30 years ago.
Do you consider being just a housewife in your life, or career is very important to you?
I really respect people that make the choice, that feel fulfilled by being at home. My mom was somebody who was at home. So when I grew up, she was always there. I was the youngest of 4 kids. And in a way, it's a standard I feel like I always, in a way, felt I should live up to. But for me, I need also to work to a degree. I don't work very much as an actor. I mean, I don't work as much as I could, but I enjoy being with my kids, and I feel very lucky. I have help, you know,
Yeah.
so that makes a big difference. I even when I'm not shooting a movie, I'm reading a lot of material. I'm developing material now, so I have to spend a certain amount of time.
So can you jiggle with...
Right. The juggling and the balancing is what I'm doing, which is what everybody's doing. But the real answer to that question is I need something which gives me autonomy from everything, including my husband and my children, which is sustaining me creatively.
An independent feeling.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
I think that's healthy. I think it makes, for us as women, we have healthier relationships when we have a certain amount of independence.
Annette, you are married with Warren Beatty, that is a big star. Is it easy to be married with such a star that everybody knows, everybody wants to talk to, and, you know?
Yeah, sometimes it's not easy. Because there's a lot of public attention if we go out. But, you know, for instance, just last night we went out to dinner. Nobody bothered us. We had a great time. We just sat and talked quietly. You know, when we first walk in, people kind of look at us. But then, you know, we have a way of sort of shutting out the world and just having our own privacy. You have to give up a certain... I was raised to kind of believe that what people thought meant something and mattered, which of course to a degree it does, but when you have a lot of public attention, you have to learn to kind of block that out and not really worry about what people think and just live your life the way that
Just forget this.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and just say, you know, I'll try to do the best I can and take care of my kids and take care of my husband and my work and not worry about it, to a degree.
Yeah, you know, everybody talks about jealousy. Are you jealous?
Am I jealous? Not really, no.
Because with him, you know, it's so, everybody wants to, oh, please, please, something, give me something. You can't be that.
Yeah, I think my life would be pretty difficult if I felt that every time a woman saw her.
And what attracted you to him? What the qualities, you know, you saw in your husband?
Yeah, he's very intelligent. He's a very passionate filmmaker. I respect. I mean, I think it's one of the qualities I've always admired in people is somebody, whoever they are, if they're impassioned about their work and they really love their work and they work very hard, I think it's a wonderful quality, and I certainly saw that in my husband.
And what do you think or you believe are your qualities that, you know, he saw you and if
You're not going to get me to answer that
come
question.
on.
What do you know? You would know.
You're
That would be
modest.
embarrassing. Well, that would be embarrassing. I don't know.
And what about Annette Bening? Do you like her?
No, because I've seen her in person, and I think she wears too much makeup. Tries to be too young for her age.
You know, she's cute. She's got like a few wrinkles. She doesn't try to hide them. When she turns sideways, she has a few wrinkles. Most women want to be filmed in a way that, you know, behind gauze, or that everything is hidden, and she's real.
What is your feeling when you see yourself in a big screen?
I have mixed feelings. It's easier than it used to be for me. When I first started, I'd only done plays, and so when I saw myself, I was very uncomfortable. So the more I get used to it, but I still feel a little bit of a sense of, part of me wants to pull away, and then other times I like watching myself. I think, oh, that was kind of good. So I have a sort of, part of me is very critical, and part of me, once in a while, I think, oh, I like that. That's okay. You found a moment. But I'm pretty critical. I'm pretty critical, and you know, trying to find an honest moment, or to find a way to be honest on screen is what interests me, and that's what sustains my interest in doing movies, is to try to honestly find something rather than something that's fake.
To finish, what is your idea of happiness?
I guess to be challenged is what is what I consider to be satisfying, And whatever that is in your life that challenges you, having children I consider to be a great challenge. To be a good parent, to raise children, to do projects that are challenging emotionally for me, and that maybe would move people as well as enlighten them in some way. That to me sounds pretty good.
Thank you very much for this interview, Annette.
Thank you. Nice
Bye-bye.
talking to you.